I guess it was something with copyright rules with a certain movie back in the day or another game.
That we couldn't call it Biohazard in the States.
So like
Probably.
when the first Resident Evil movie came out here, and when I actually by that time I was in Japan doing middle school, and we went to go see it. I went to go see it with a friend of mine, and typically what happened was when I saw the titles like Resident Evil, I was like, no,
That is
I
incorrect.
yelled, no, that's that Biohazard. But I mean, going back, that was my first. So with the PlayStation and all that, for me, the funny thing is, my 10th birthday, I got my first PlayStation system.
Nice.
Like actually, like a home console, other than the Game Boy or whatnot.
I can hear that helicopter on the mic.
That's...
Not to interrupt, but for all of our listeners, I hope that doesn't cause a distraction. We'll see how bad it is when we play back. But yes, I could in fact hear a helicopter through the mic, which is impressive. But anyway, please continue.
Yes. But going on back again, my mom. 1997, when Final Fantasy VII came out.
Yes.
My mom wanted to play that. Now,
I remember this story.
Very, very. I guess what's the word?
Attached, obsessive.
Attached, obsessed. No. Gullible. There you go.
Ah,
Me being
yes,
so gullible
yes.
As what was it? 1997. That's a couple of years ago. Oh, let's just
Just a few years ago.
Let's say elementary,
just a
second
few.
grade. I'm gonna say that. I think second
Okay.
grade, third grade. When my mom said, "I will buy you a game system if your brother and yourself will, chip in to buy this." So I was like, "Yay! Yeah, that was a great idea. It was a great system, PlayStation." I wanted more Nintendo because of the Game Boy, but we were like, we'll get it. So we get the system. I was excited because we got Mortar Tunes, which is another like B-rated car racing game.
Oh.
Back then, it was so fun. And then Final Fantasy VII.
Mm-hmm.
Well, actually, no, it was Wild Arms.
Oh,
It
yes,
was the Wild Arms
yes.
with the 16-bit like character with the pretty badass whistle. Apologies for the little cussing a little bit.
Mature rated.
Yes. But going on top of that, it was that really cool whistling tune of Wild Arms. So here's the thing. We got the game. I didn't know how to play Wild Arms, but we were playing Mortar Tunes all the time. But every time I came back from school, ever since that time, I wouldn't see my mom in the first floor of my house. She would be downstairs in the basement playing. So every time I had to go downstairs, like I had to be outside, I had to knock on the window to let me in, and she would let me in through that door, and I would just watch her play Wild Arms till dinner, till my dad came home. And that was my, I guess, like elementary era. And then Final Fantasy VII came out. Oh my gosh, she threw a fit. She actually got a guide. She actually threw a fit when the third disc broke.
Oh, no,
And
yeah.
It wouldn't like move on to the next stage, and she just gave up at that. I was like, no. After that, she went to Final Fantasy VIII. She beat the game.
Still my favorite Final Fantasy other than Tactics.
Yes. She did beat Tactics too.
Oh, Tactics.
And that was
I've played that game far too much. Between the PSP re-release and the original PlayStation 1 release, I must have a terrifying number of hours on that game. Probably, and I'm not over-exaggerating here, this is how sad it is, at least 1,000 hours on that game, if not more.
Jeez.
I've
Your childhood spent.
I had a lot of free time in 2007 when it came out on the PSP. That's why I got a PSP.
Onion Knights, right?
What?
The Onion Soldiers or Onion Knights?
Onion Knights and Dark Knights. But I have probably at least 3 or 4 save files where the hours are maxed at 99 and probably go well over that.
You can max those?
Yeah, it maxes out at 99. It doesn't go up to 100. And it just stays at 99. So after a certain point, you don't know how much time you've wasted playing that game, but it's not wasted because it's such a good game.
It is such a good game. I mean, for the guys in the who's listening, like in the comments below, like I would want like I guess top 5, favorite games from you guys. Definitely, I'm just kind of curious from like what type of listeners, hobbies, and all that. But like generally, we could talk
Games
about
in general
games
or classic games. Because I know we're talking about classic games right now.
I say classic.
Classic, yeah.
Classic, and then...
So, like, PS1, N64, and older?
And the Dreamcast.
Well, of course.
Let's not forget the Dreamcast.
That's that gen. I'm not sure what gen that is. I think Gen 5, I do believe.
That is Gen 5. That was on your paper?
Yes, I looked that up.
Days ago.
A week or two ago. I don't remember now. But I believe that's Gen 5. So again, air quotes, Gen 5 era of gaming and older, including I'd say arcade games. Because there's some good stuff that never got ported to consoles.
I mean, I like the claw games. I'm more of a claw game kind of guy.
Really? Not like the actual video games, but
I love just like putting in the dollar or putting in the quarter, putting in the 100 yen, and watching that little bit of technique of moving that claw, and if it's like right there at the edge, you can actually cheat. You can actually go close to have the claw open and
pull it up the side.
Right, either that or push the doll in.
Yeah,
that's how I used to do it.
Yeah, I know they. At least in claw machines around here where I live, they've actually got it where there's like the plastic tube up next to around the hole, so you can't do that. So you have to actually pick it up, and then the tube gets in the way of the thing you're holding and knocks it down, and you're like, Perkins, why do you do this to me? That's the primary one that I can think of that at the Perkins in town has a claw machine. It's the first one I've seen in years, and I see so many poor little kids try and win things from that machine and just fail horribly. It's so depressing to see.
Right.
But, you know.
That's any mall. Like, I know arcades are, like, disappearing, I guess. Like, I know in Japan, I just go to take the train, buy a ticket, take a train to, like, Shibuya, and you go to one of, like, the I wouldn't say red light district area. It's, like, more of the teen hangout social area.
I was going to say red light. That's getting into a bit sketchier of an area.
It is, but
we're a mature podcast, but I don't know, Masa. That's
those. When it's, I would say more like neon lights, let's say.
Gotcha, yeah.
Neon lights.
Yeah.
The
youth
literally see games, like arcades right across from each other, and all of a sudden, you notice that whole building is full of game systems. So I used to play like arcade games and all that. So, going on, I mean, we're already hitting the 21 minute?
No, 21-minute mark, yeah, which is amazing. I feel like we haven't been doing this that long.
No, we haven't.
But, do you want to move on to our main topic of the evening?
Oh, finally?
now that we've done our general character building and our establishment of our strong nerdiness.
Yes.
Let's talk Gundam.
Okay, Gundam.
Gundam has been one of my favorite anime series since I started watching anime, all thanks to Gundam Wing and G Gundam on Toonami. And I know you and your issues with G Gundam, but I still love it.
Like I don't mind it. It's
Well, it's silly.
Can't take it seriously.
You're not supposed to. It's not supposed to be dark and grim like Universal Century. It's G Gundam. We're
throwing all these vocabs that maybe the listeners might be like, "What the hell are they talking about?"
We might have to post a vocab guide on with the podcast. This is what this means. This is what that means. But I mean, G Gundam. You have a bunch of some very young, some very old, some men, some women, some very attractive women. I'm just saying. In very tight bodysuits that somehow allow them to control the suit with their body motions. I don't know. It's odd, but it's awesome. But Masa and I, along with our friend Kyle, shout out to Kyle, woo! We just watched every episode of Gundam Unicorn last night. Gundam Unicorn being... It's ongoing, so I'm saying it's the most recent Gundam past age. It's beautifully done. It takes sometimes years for each episode to come out. There's only 6 episodes, 50 minutes a pop, and it is
every year
glorious. Is it pretty much every year? Yeah. And it is a glorious series. So we started at midnight and went until about 6 in the morning. And as much as my parents thought that we were crazy for doing so worth it. Because I mean, this is a series that you can see they put so much time and effort just into the graphical detail alone.
Right.
Let alone the audio, the voice acting, the storyline. It is incredibly well done. And the fact that it takes a year for each episode is completely understandable when you see the quality of this series.
So
It's amazing.
We suggest you finding an actual, you actually either buy the Blu-ray from Bandai.
Absolutely, we would never condone piracy here.
No, we don't. But like the original Gundam, like for me, I like other than let's say G Gundam, Wing, 00, yeah.
The alternate timelines.
The alternate timelines, like they're not. I wouldn't say they're not in my top 10. Like
for those of you who don't actually know what Gundam is beyond the occasional series, because I actually didn't know this until a few years ago, Gundam is multiple different timelines. You've got the main timeline, which is Universal Century, and then there's all of these other alternate universes where all these other stories take place, like Wing and G Gundam. Universal Century is you're straight up. There's robots, there's pilots. Some of them are psychic. And there's these constant wars between a few different factions.
Right. Like, I mean, later on in podcast-wise, I think we will definitely touch up on, I guess, each universe.
That would be cool.
But, for me, the first original Gundam, the 0079 Gundam, the original, which aired in April 7, 1979.
Wow.
So that's a long time ago. I mean, even before I was born. And back then, there was... I remember watching, a documentary on this, where Gundam just a couple years ago, about, I think, a year or 2 years ago, just hit their 30-year anniversary.
Yes.
I think it was 30 years, yeah.
Well, if it came out in 79, then it would have been 2009, so 4 years ago, actually.
Okay, 4 years ago, okay. So...
And that's when they put up the Gundam statue in Japan, yes?
The 1:1 scale Gundam.
Yes.
Yes, Japan's finally made their first Gundam.
And it is glorious.
It is. It just doesn't shoot beams.
If only.
Oh my gosh.
God. Japan would take over so quickly. I mean,
we wouldn't say that. We can't really... Obviously, we've lost wars, but...
Yes, but I feel like the sheer fear factor of seeing a live, actually working Gundam in a battle, the sheer fear factor alone would be enough to win wars. And I'm saying this all rhetorically, so no one yell at me over military strategies and everything. I'm not a part of the military. I don't know how it works in real life, so please don't freak out. But I know I personally, my jaw would drop at the very least. So
it's intimidating, but it sticks out like a sore thumb.
Yes, camouflage is not a Gundam strong suit.
No, it's not. Unless you go into I guess jungle warfare, guerrilla warfare.
Yeah, then a Zaku would be all right. But
Zaku's,
yeah, the red, white, and blue and yellows and it sticks out, especially in space. So it's like, oh yeah, everything's black in space except for this glowing dot that happens to be shooting lasers out of everywhere.
Now, going back, like I said, it was back in 1979, there were, in the robot series, there was, Getter, which, for some people who might, some older listeners might know this more, Machinger, other series that had to do something with space was, Blaze, what was it, Blaze? Not Blaze Rider, but Galaxy, there's Galaxy Express 39, that's another one. Or Battleship Yamato, which they started doing a rerun of that.
I saw that, yes. They're re-releasing it, right? They're doing a, what is it? A revival, I guess.
Yep. I would say they were trying to compete with that. I guess the person who made it, what was his name?
Tomino, right?
Tomino, yeah. He wanted to compete with it. Now I believe